solve the problem. Solve the problem. Anytime in life, throughout life, we're going to experience problems. And these problems are going to need to be solved. And this is why it's so important to teach your children and to know yourself problem-solving abilities. Numerous occasions I've gotten up on YouTube or Facebook and talked about the fact that I am PMP certified, meaning I'm a project management professional, the official PMP certification. I am Six Sigma Green Belt certified, meaning that Six Sigma deals with process improvement and Six Sigma process improvement methodologies. These courses that I've taken, these certifications that I've gotten, have been more powerful than any degree that I think I could have gotten from college, because it was pretty much on-the-job training. When working on the job, they were able to provide all sorts of courses. Now, these courses deal with, like I said, problem-solving courses, time management courses. These are things that have been able to help me to not only grow and cultivate the land, but also grow and cultivate my family. Because in life, again, and especially on a farm, on a homestead, you're going to have to solve problems. And not always are you going to have a solution where you can go out and hire somebody, go out and get somebody to do something. A perfect example is that we have the chickens running around, and I have a chicken coop, but overall we don't have, I free range the chickens. They just go anywhere. It's completely fenced off. I don't have a problem with rodents or anything like that getting to them, but they pretty much do, what they want to do, and they lay their eggs and stuff. But the challenge with that is that they get to get in things and they get to scratch things. So, just use these crates to put up so that they can't get in to the area. Because you see, when they get into the area, they begin to scratch, okay? And that will scratch up the plant. So we put a little fencing around them and we string them up. A little inconvenience, but hey, that problem is solved. I was dealing with a situation once when the sheep got out, and you see I put the roses on a pedestal. I said, well, how do I solve that problem? So I just jacked up put some old 2x4s or 4x4s, pressure treated into the ground, put a little pedestal on it, and put it on the pedestal. So therefore the sheep can't get to it when they go from one field to another, because they have to go through or pass through the garden area. So that has to be coordinated. Now this is excess corn, and we have the corn planted, but this is excess corn. Think about planting it somewhere else, but the chickens were scratching it. They'll leave it alone now, but had a little situation where they were scratching it, and the shots is like, well, we got to plant it. Well, I'm too busy. I can't plant it right now. I don't have time. What is the solution? To jack it up so that the chickens can't get to it. With those, you see those glass panels that I got from a couple of bathroom remodels, and jack it up and put some crates on it so that the plant can continue to grow and they have space, but the chickens can't get to it. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to problem solving. We got the dill coming in, got more herbs, we got mint. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Man, this is just overflowing. This kale. I think, I know I definitely grew too much kale. I went kale mad this year. But that's okay because I'm going to go broccoli mad next year. I think I may just do one bed of kale because it produced so much, and do a couple of more beds of broccoli and collard greens in the spring. But look at this abundance. I mean, this has to be harvested again, of course, but it's so much. Man, this is beautiful. You got worms getting to it. See that? But that's okay. Got the raspberries coming in. They're getting big. But the idea of the game is to problem solve. Solve problems. Constantly thinking outside of the box to ensure that you are solving problems. Now, when you're in a homestead, I mean, it tells a lot about a person's character. It tells a lot about a person's ability to go ahead and solve problems when they come up, because they're going to come up. I tell people all the time, going to homesteads or you're building a homestead, make sure you can write that check. Make sure that you can see things through. If you're building, you should always consider the cost, because a lot of people, they have not truly really considered the cost, and they're getting burnt now. Case in point, I know a brother that, they purchased a homestead, they was developing and everything. And then turns out, I found out, a year or so later that, he got foreclosed on, or, he doesn't have the homestead anymore. And they put in a lot of work, a lot of concrete work, building up cinder block, raised beds, all of this stuff. But he didn't consider the long-term cost because, like many people, we can profess the word of Yah, and we can say, oh, Yah this and Yah that, or God this and God that, or whatever. But if we haven't considered the cost, if we have not considered how to create an economy of our own, and we just think that God is just gonna provide for us and money's gonna fall out of the sky, because we can say a prayer and jump up and down and act all spiritual, act all religious, whatever. It just don't work that way. It just don't work that way. You have to put in the work. You have to know how to problem solve. Have to know how to plan ahead. Because it's not only me. I got a family to think about. I got Ashia's children and others that are dependent on me to produce. And if I can't produce, I just can't have this, everything's going to work out and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to produce anything. I don't have to get up off my ass and create anything. I don't have to implement anything. I don't have to initiate or implement, and I don't have to do anything. This is the thought of a fool, and it's a sad thing to see, this kind of stuff going on. I think the chicken is in there attempting to lay some eggs. But this is the essence of making sure that you know how to solve the minute problems that's going to take place on a piece of property. This is how you're going to need to learn how to solve financial situations that come up. Things break down. I got to think on it quick. This is why it's so important to have an emergency fund. You never know when something is going to happen, but it's always good to have some cash on hand, or at least a credit card on hand. Something that you can bear that economic shock that takes place. Solving problems. It says a lot about a person's character when they can't solve problems, when they can't think outside the box, when they can't address issues. Because, see, what happens then is that they become nervous, they become panicky, they become desperate. And, I don't trust desperate people. A desperate person is a dangerous person, because in situations like that, they'll take the attitude that, you know what, the ends justify the means. I'm going to do what I got to do. And that's a dangerous thought process to be in, because their back is up against the corner. And especially if somebody broke. I mean, especially if somebody got wife and a wife to feed, children to feed, and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it gets serious. And so, I never want to be around a person that is going through such a thing, because they're desperate and they haven't learned how to solve problems. So therefore, that book of the law, any kind of morality will go right out the window. It'll go right out the window, because they have not learned how to solve problems. Man, look at that head of broccoli. My wife did a harvest, and we got to harvest some more, but you can see some bugs are getting to it. They are getting to it, but we're going to get that harvest. This is all organic. Oh, see, some more broccoli heads are springing up there. And you got the corn in over here. See, problem solving. Until I can get out here and do something better with this, this is sufficient. And as well, at the same time, anybody that sees this kind of stuff, because, clients come on the land and they pick the veggies. But I always get compliments on how the land looks. I always get compliments. My shies always get compliments on how we maintain and present, because it's all about presentation as well. Because I know how to solve problems. Teach the people around you how to innovate, think outside of the box, and solve problems. Can't stress this enough, because, if you don't, you won't have the abundance. If you don't, you won't have the variety. If you don't have the nutrition to provide for your family, the mental and spiritual nutrition that they need in order to feel confident in you and confident in your abilities to solve problems. That's the last thing on my wise minds, is if they're going to be provided for, if they're not going to be able to be protected, or their needs are not going to be able to be met. We're moving into wants area now, because Yah's blessing the labor of my hands. But this is what I wanted to talk about. It's so important, and I see so many people losing it, because when people lose everything, they lose it. And again, we're going to experience a time in this country where it's going to be a dog eat dog. And let me tell you again, a person is justified. I mean, when they back up against the wall, they justified with just about anything. Anything they're justified with, man. It's just a sad deal. And so keep this stuff in mind, folks. Know who you're dealing with. Know when desperation hits. Look at that. Man, look at my arm. This is the length of my arm right here. That's going to be some good eating right there. You got to harvest this. Man, look at that big. How big that is. I mean, that is just huge. Look at my arm. We're talking abundance here. We're talking problem solving here. We're talking increase here. How you get the increase? Problems are going to come up. You're going to have to problem solve. Hopefully I said that enough. Have a blessed day. Shalom.